I'm currently not watching the baseball because the Celtics are on. If it were a closer series at the moment, maybe I'd make a different decision. Right now, 3-1. What's the score right now? Is there even a score?
Zip zip.
Okay.
Diamondbacks had a runner on third and one out and did not score. So
Love that.
that
That's exactly what they need at this
yeah,
moment in time.
that seems like what the series has been. Basically, sums it up.
It's been tough. I don't want to say the series was swung on a call because that's just not true. But a game was swung on a couple of calls. And I am not Mr. Robot Umpire, this, that, and the third. I still think you should be well within your rights to swing on umpires. I think they'd be so much better. They would
I already
have
advocated for violence, man.
they would have to be better. Right now they're like they've got like diplomatic immunity. It's like they're
Yeah.
basically like the son of a governor, like some rich douchebag kid who goes over to another country and just fucks shit up and is like, I know I'm not going to be like locked up abroad. My dad's going to get me out of here. That's what umpires are. They know they're
Yeah.
a protected group for no fucking reason. These people are moron. They're idiots. They're so bad at their jobs.
Bro,
They get to
Angel
swing games.
Hernandez is still gainfully employed. Like, fuck anything else, just gainfully employed. Seriously. And then, like, you look at there was a tweet the other day I saw. It was like the accuracy numbers of the umpires that they were going to have in the World Series.
Yeah.
And it's like 90th out of 100. Why is he here then? Like, what 90th out of 100? 75th out of 100? Like, where's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5? Were they busy?
I think 4, because I saw that tweet too. I think 4 was game 1.
Okay. So
And then the rest of the series, like the next highest guy was like 52nd. Like it was,
so it's like,
I was like,
what happened to 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? They all busy? Like, what happened to all of them? Like, all of them.
It's insane. There are certain jobs in society that need to be full-time jobs. Like these leagues have the money to make, like I'm talking every sport. These leagues have the money to make these guys like genuinely wealthy. I don't even
Yeah.
care. Like the money, I don't give a fuck about anyone else's money. But when you find out like the most famous NFL ref, that was his like side job for the lawyering he did to actually pay his bills.
Mhm.
Like that's insane. Like
It is.
you should be only focused on the sport you're officiating. This isn't the 1920s. Like that's all these people should be doing.
And they have the ends to make it work. It's not like they're poor, they're not broke. You have the ends to make this shit work. And the officiating has been a problem in all of the sports for a
Forever.
long enough time. It's not like we're making this shit up. We see it. Like it was the ninth inning the other day where there was one like the first pitch was an egregious ball or egregious strike that they call a ball, and then he struck him out on a pitch that was 5 inches off the plate, and it's like, what are we doing? And it's just it's all the time. It's not like, and they don't hire full time umpires, and then when they get to the World Series, we have the middle of the pack being nice of the umpires instead of like the actual good ones. Like you have one good umpire for an entire series, then what? And then just I don't know, man. Give me the robots, please.
I would rather try just like making it a full-time job first. The robots, people are gonna hate the robots. I don't know if you've seen some of the calls that they make with the robots and the minors. Those aren't strikes. I don't give a fuck. Like I don't care how much of the plate they allegedly caught. Like when a human throws a pitch and the catcher calls for like high and inside and it goes low and outside. I don't care if it caught the zone. That's not a strike. Like that's not these guys are too good to be giving them like fake calls like that. The robots will every time.
That's not a fake call,
It
man. What
is.
is
Missed
it
your
not a
spot.
strike?
It's
Is it
not.
not a
No,
strike?
I don't think it is.
How is it if it crossed the strike zone at the requisite height and width? How is it not a strike?
That's not like these are the best throwers of objects in the world. Like truly. They
Mm-hmm.
have pinpoint accuracy outside of relievers. If you miss the plate, that's fucking like diagonally, that's like 4 feet. Like you miss your spot by 4 feet. That's an interception in the NFL. You know what I mean? That's not. It's not like
So we're not
oh
trying to reward bad command. Is basically what
you
you're saying to
you
me.
you hit your receiver in the foot. That's a catch. Like that's the same thing in my eyes. I know it sounds preposterous, but I think like right now, when a catcher and pitcher get crossed up, you see so many pitches go right down the middle that don't get called strikes because the umpire is like, well, you already your catcher doing like backflips, so I couldn't see the ball at all. Like what? That's kind of like, but the robot umpire is just a strike. It's like you miss by that much. You and your catcher might not even been looking for the same pitch. I'm going to reward you with a strike now. That's fucked up. To me, that's fucked up.
I don't know, man. A strike is a strike, but I get the point, and the biggest thing that I'm against when it comes to robo umps is I'm pro framing. So
Okay.
like I think if you're good at framing, you should be rewarded for that. And yes, I understand that
So a
framing is
strike is a
technically game of
strike,
assist.
but a ball can be a strike sometimes.
Yes, it's a skill.
It's fucked up.
Yes, it's a skill. Yeah, listen, I'm
So's
not acting like
pitching. Pitching's a skill.
listen, I'm not acting like I'm 100% consistent on this. Like my thoughts don't all mesh together sensibly. All right, but yes, I think framing should be rewarded. Now, if they get the robot umpires, I'm not going to cry over no framing because it's just like get the calls right. If it means that you miss a pitch by 3 feet and the shit it ends up in the strike zone and you call it a strike, so be it. I'll take that. I'll take that trade off. So be it.
at, at a certain point, to me, with robots, and we'll actually talk about the World Series after this because it's not fair to the Rangers. They have been really good. Um, like, at what point, if we go the robot route, do we not just get a fucking chair back there like we're playing wiffle ball? If you hit these spots or inside, that's a strike. Because we're killing catchers, and that's not even a new thing. Catchers don't call pitches anymore. That's been the coaches for like a decade plus now.
Mhm.
Um, and now they don't even like put down signs. They press buttons behind their legs. Like the entire art of catching. I'm glad stolen bases are back now, just so they can do something back there because they're about to get replaced by AI for the most part. Like the catchers are a dying breed.
Listen, and it's just funny to me that we're headed in this direction, and you're still gonna see teams have catchers who just can't hit, and it's like,
Right.
what's the point? If like every bit of their job description is through somebody else, so like, what is the point of having somebody who can't hit? Like, what? Oh, you need somebody who can block baseballs that badly? I disagree.
when the NL DH debate was happening, like should they adapt the DH? My take throughout the entire thing was that before the NL decides, because it's preposterous they're even debating this, the AL should implement a second DH to get the catcher out of there. Like the catcher is no longer a hitter. You get a second DH, the catcher and the pitcher are both. They just do their catching and pitching. Have fun out there, fellas.
The pitcher hitting debate has always been so preposterous to me. It's like you guys don't like pitchers hitting. So
No,
I don't know why you lying. You don't. There's no way y'all are sitting there watching some NL baseball game, and fucking Steve Traxel comes to the plate, looks at three pitches, goes back to the dugout, and you're like, "Wow, this is real baseball." There's no fucking way, none.
to me, the argument for pitchers hitting was always like, well, what about Bartolo Colon? To me, that's the exact argument to end it. Like, yeah, that it won't get better than that. Like that was the peak. That
Bro,
was the
there's a
perfect
reason we
contract.
are still seeing Bartolo Colon's home run like 15 years later. There's a reason. Like it didn't win a game. It didn't win a playoff game. It wasn't in the playoffs. It was a random like May baseball game, and we are still seeing a homer like 15 years later. And you want more of that? Like, no, that's not how it's supposed to work. No,
The Rangers have set a record, most consecutive road playoff victories. Broke two different Yankees teams, roughly 90 years apart. I think on those
something like
Yankees
that.
teams.
Yes,
Yeah, it's preposterous.
yes. It's a very funny
Uh,
stat. Yeah.
Especially since the first one would have had to have been over the series of like 3 years because they weren't playing series. It was just the World Series, and then we'll see you next year. Um, but yeah, that's preposterous. No matter which way you want to slice it, they've been good. But the problem with the Rangers when they've gotten to the World Series hasn't been winning games. They've never got swept in the World Series, to my knowledge. I only know of the three they've been in, including this one. It's the finishing of the World Series, and this will come out tomorrow. Perhaps Corey Seager's got the World Series MVP, and it's over. If I'm a Rangers fan, I'm as nervous as can be until I see that final out.
I mean, as you should be. I mean, we saw Nelson Cruz the defensive work the last time they were in the World Series. Why he was in right field, I will never know. But listen, certain teams, yeah, you gotta wait until it's done for
Mm-hmm.
to feel any kind of like, whew, any kind of relief. Like, whew, this shit is over. Finally, they won. Yay, it's over. You know what I mean? Like you could feel confident. I mean, Evaldi's on the fucking mound with a chance to clinch.
Right.
Now, it gets a little bit hairy if they lose. Then it's like Jordan Montgomery's fine, cool, but like, yeah, you could get to Jordan Montgomery a little bit. Maybe
Oh,
not much, but a
definitely.
little bit. So it's like if you don't clinch with Evaldi, you become a little bit more nervous. Granted, the Texas bats haven't slowed down this entire playoff, so
Oh,
there's that. I don't expect them to. I expect them to touch Zach Allen a little bit tonight and win. So I don't expect the shit to go any further. But of course, you're nervous naturally.
that game one of the series was a close game. That was the one Arizona. I mean, again, the series isn't over, but when you start looking back, if you're about to lose, it's like those margins are so thin. It's kind of playing out, or at least the first couple of games played out similarly to the Phillies series, where it was like, man, Philly really didn't pulverize them in their win early in the series. And it was just like, if they can just, like, those aren't the ones, you can't leave a lot of those W's throughout the playoffs and expect to be hoisting the trophy at the end. You know what I mean? Those small gritty wins really really can demoralize one team and propel
For
another.
sure.
So when you
For
don't
sure.
when you leave them hanging like that, and even the 3-1 game in the middle of this series, there were some tough calls, but teams get tough calls. It fucking happens.
Yeah, man. And listen, the Rangers winning. Granted, these Major League Baseball owners don't give a fuck about nothing that we be talking about. But it's good because the Rangers went out there and they spent like madmen the last like
Mhm.
three off seasons. They're just like, hey, listen, we are just like you just tell us when to stop. Like this is what the Rangers were on for the last three off seasons, and like them being rewarded for actually giving a fuck and trying to win is good.
Yeah.
Like
Oh
I
yeah.
appreciate it. I enjoy it.
Yeah. It should be one of the main talking points this off season is just like someone broke down. I think I saw it on John Boy. I can't remember who made it though. It was like how these teams were built in terms of free agency, draft and development, international waiver guys, trades. And the Rangers, it was like 5% draft and development. Everything else was, and internationals all like should be part of that as well. I understand it's different, but should be part of that as
Right.
well. But it's like Garcia, uh, like was a trade. It was basically a waiver move. Seager free agent, Simeon
And
free
didn't they
agent.
DFA Garcia like before that, and then they got him the second time? I feel like I'm making that up. Am I making that
That
up? I don't
I'm
recall.
not gonna pretend like I
I
was
don't recall. I'm pretty sure it was like the second time they had him, but I could be wrong on that.
It's
But yeah,
possible. I'm not gonna pretend like I followed every step of Adelise Garcia's. I
yeah,
don't say
I
his name
certainly did not.
correctly
I just
every time.
remember. I remember specifically that the Cardinals let him go for nothing. I remember that, and that's
Right. Yeah, that's
entertaining to me.
for sure.
I remember that.
Um, I thought Jalen just like broke his leg. That wouldn't have been great. Um, so the them building their team that way, and I don't think it's like, oh fuck the draft, this, that, and the third, but it's like there is something, especially with baseball, knowing this guy produces, and we've seen plenty of guys go from one team to another and start stinking after he gets a big contract. I get that.
Hmm.
There is such an unknown with young players in baseball, more so than any other sport. I was saying it the other night when Connor Bedard scored like 7 seconds into a game for the Blackhawks, and it was like the fastest a teenager's ever scored in an NHL game. NHL prodigies, hockey prodigies, hit at a higher rate than any sport. That's entirely anecdotal. I have no facts to back that up.
It
But when I
certainly feels like it. I don't even follow hockey that hard. It
That's what
certainly
I mean.
feels that way.
But when did you hear about Bedard? Like a while ago, right?
8:37 p.m. Eastern time today. Actually, we're gonna keep it a
That's
bean
very
like
funny. So
today.
Bedard,
Yeah,
like I don't follow hockey at fucking all. I heard about Bedard at least last year
like I
early.
heard about Connor McDavid like long before he
Sure.
was it,
He
and
would be
he's
the
been
last
every
one.
bit of what they thought he was.
Yeah, they call him McJesus. He was the last one I can point to. And then hockey fans get my mentions. It's exactly why I don't talk about hockey. They're like, "What about this fucking guy? He went sixth in the draft. He was." It's like that. We're already not talking about the same fucking thing, dude. Already not. And then I have people coming into my mentions like basketball. They're always right. No, 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 no.
No, they're not.
Andrew Wiggins has made himself a nice NBA
Bro,
career, a
way
lot of
too
money.
many people have been the next Jordan for basketball to always be right. No, that's not how this works. And Ben Simmons, like, I understand up and down. I get how his career has gone. I know what it looked like at his peak, but even at his peak, he was never what they claimed he was going to be.
No, no. I mean, he was. I remember talking to Tyler and Ben Simmons entering his third year, being like he had the exact same offensive numbers years 1 and 2, and they were fine. Like he was like 16, 9 and 9 or whatever the fuck it was. Like he was
Right.
very fine. And it was just like, yeah, it's weird he didn't get better at anything there. And he got the all
Ben Simmons
defense,
was the same guy he was in college, like the
right, and high
same
school for that
fucking guy.
matter, like
Right, he was the same guy. And listen, that was a great NBA player for like
for
3 years.
sure.
It was, and then he just like the back started acting up, and a lot of other stuff
Right.
happened. And yeah, here we are.
He was billed as like we knew Magic, we knew LeBron. Here's the next one of them. You know what I
Right,
mean? Like
that's what it was.
that
Yeah,
kind of guy that
right.
people tanked for him, not just the Sixers. Multiple teams were tanking
Yeah,
with Ben Simmons in mind.
and that was a
Even
whiff.
in terms of like instant like prodigy that becomes Hall of Fame, walks to the Hall of Fame. Yeah, big whiff. And he could still cobble together a decent career here. But baseball, it's like Bryce Harper. I can't even say the same for Strasburg. He had insane hype coming into the draft, and he was the slam dunk #1 pick. Bryce, I heard of when he was like 13. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that
Yes.
different level of
Yes,
prodigy.
bro. Yes. Like I heard of Bryce when he was legitimately like a preteen, basically. It was
Mhm.
like he was 14 and we were talking about like, oh, he's next. It was like, what? Like what? He's 14, bro. Like doesn't he have an earth science project to work on? We talking about he's next?
Baseball, and I guess I'm thinking too Americanized. There are international guys that you do hear about a couple years in advance, but even still, they don't always like. I'm gonna blank on his name. Who's the Cuban that the Red Sox traded to the White Sox for
Yohan
the
Moncada.
yeah, Moncada. Moncada was supposed to be
Yeah, he was supposed to be it. He
face
was
of the
supposed to be it.
league, and
He's
he's
supposed to be it.
fine. He's fine,
Fine. He's been a disappointment though.
big
Like a
time,
big time disappointment.
big time.
Like Julio Rodriguez had a lot of hype too, but not quite to like Yohan Moncada levels of hype. Whereas Yohan Moncada was like, he was it, bro. Like it was everybody was hoping a team signed him in international free agency. Like when he got traded, like yo, the White Sox came up, this, that, and the third. He was supposed to be that it guy, and he had a couple of good years, and he's had some average nondescript years ever since.
Right. So it's so difficult to be like that's why I do respect how the Orioles got here, the way in which they developed and like they got I always forget they got Rushman and Gunnar in the same fucking draft. Like that's an unbelievable haul. You know what I
It
mean?
is.
That's
It is.
unbelievable. But it's so hard to bank on. I mean, the A's have been banking on this strategy for 30 years now. It's not the easiest way to go about things by any stretch. The Rangers even went a little too far in this spending direction. Like they should probably have a little bit better of a minor league system.
Yeah.
But it's not like their homegrown guys haven't contributed. You know what I mean? Like the
Mhm.
Evan Carter, they're not here without Evan Carter. I think that's fair to
Jace
say.
Young, I mean, Jace Young, Josh Young, excuse me.
Josh Young, yeah,
Yeah, he's good. Evan Carter's good. It's kind of it, right? As far as their regulars, yeah, that's kind
they're
of it.
big it though.
Oh yeah, no, listen, they're really good prospects. But like the Cole Reagans trade, for example, that one like ugh, yuck. Like they're not gonna care. Obviously, like you win a championship, like you
Right.
deal with it. But like trading Cole Reagans for a guy who you legitimately cannot even trust to put in the game is kind of crazy in retrospect. But can't win them all.
I mean, the rest of that bullpen isn't much better. It happens. It
For
just
sure, that's
happens.
exactly why they did the trade. That's exactly
No,
why they
no.
did the trade.
John Gray, uh, I won't say heroic. I don't know if I can give heroic to 3 innings out of the pen.
I think you
Uh,
can.
he
Not in
stepped
this
up.
context, but I think you can.
He stepped up.
I think you can. I've seen heroic 3 inning efforts. Mike Mussina's 3 inning
I
effort was
don't.
heroic.
I don't disagree that there have been heroic 3 inning
I
efforts.
ain't calling his shit heroic though.
That's
Like
what I mean.
they were leading. He came in. He did his job.
Keith Folk was throwing 3 innings a night the entire month of October for in 2004. Like
He
that was
sure was.
heroic.
He
This
sure
was
was.
this was like, yeah, you stepped up. You were supposed to pitch tomorrow. You pitched today. You did a fucking unbelievable job.
Yeah.
Heroic.
Yeah.
If
Nah.
Rangers fans want to call lionize him for the rest of
Oh yeah,
history,
for sure.
have at it. I'm not going to tell you not to.
I've called
Uh,
people. I've called Yankee players heroic for far less than that. So yeah, go knock it off. Go ahead.
for sure. Like, of course, like the amount of Red Sox fans who still talk about Cody Ross. It is what, like, you know what I mean? He had a fucking hell of a year. He had an unbelievable year. But when you are the Rangers and you go out and you're a spend forward team, you better have that money in the bank. Because if you don't, you look like the Padres. You look like the Lakers taking fucking PPP loans to pay everybody. Like when you sent me this link, I was super busy today. I did not see this story. I saw it from you. Them needing to take out a loan to pay their players is like, how do they not? How does the league not take the team from them? Like, I'm not even joking. Like,
Listen, I know that rich people and rich entities do things a little bit differently than we do. Okay, so
definitely,
like I don't know how many teams do this kind of stuff. Cool, all right, but like seeing every other story we've heard about the Padres for like a month has been yo, we ain't got it. Like, every other story like been yo, we ain't got it, bro. Like we're looking to slash payroll. We gotta borrow from 82 people to pay our shit. Like every other story, like yo, we don't have it. So it's like, all right, well, listen, trading for Juan Soto is easy. The blueprint was laid. You know by who? The fucking Dodgers and Red Sox. It's right there. Google it if you don't remember. It's right there. Just take on whoever. Jake Cronenworth, you Darvish, hell, both. I don't give a damn. Take on whoever you take on whoever, whatever money that they can't afford to pay. For some reason they extended you Darvish for like 4 years. I don't know
that was an
why they did
insane
that.
move.
Very
I think
weird.
I think they lowered its AAV by like legitimately $4 million. Like it
And it
was
was like,
not some
and
big
it's like, yeah,
savings.
and now you sign up to like his age 47 season. What was the point? I don't understand that. Take him, take Jake Cronenworth. Shit, if you're the right guy, a team with the right owner, hell, you could take both of them and probably give them nothing for Juan Soto. Just, all right, yeah, man, we'll take all of your excess money, and you just give us Juan Soto. How about that? It's easy. It's right there.
So I'm not going to take credit for this because I heard Jared talk about this like a week or two ago. Because right now the Red Sox and Yankees fans are both trying to figure out how do we get Juan Soto. That was even before the Padres came out as faceless pores like this. Um, if you're a team and it's like, yeah, we'll give you Soto, you got to take Xander. I can't imagine saying no to the. Personally, I would have already done it. Like the call would have been made.
Listen, and like this is gonna sound a little weird, so I'll say it like, why can't the Yankees just say, all right, here's Stanton, we'll take back Bogarts? I mean, it's 1/3 of the money. Like, because Xander's contract was never going to be good.
No, never.
He's a good player,
Very
damn good
happy
player.
for him.
But what did they give him, like 12 years for like $800 million?
I think it was 11. So I'm gonna
11.
pull it up. Let me
It was like 11 years for like $300 million, bro. That was never gonna age well. It was never gonna age well
11
ever.
280. So my idea, they've already burned through one of those years, obviously.
Right,
My idea, because obviously I'd love to have Xander back in Boston. I'll say, look, you only got to pay 4 of those years, and I know you don't have it today, so pay those last 4 years. I'll gladly pay his next 6 years, no problem. You pay the last four, and just like you want to talk about blueprints laid, we already did this with the Padres 2 years ago when they gave us Hosmer. They paid the rest of his contract. By that, you can cut the guy whenever you want because
right,
you're not on the hook for any of that money. So it's like I have no problem paying Xander a 7 year deal. If I go back a
right.
year ago and I give him 7 years, $200 million,
Nobody
great,
cares. Right,
great
you don't
deal.
care. Like,
That's
it's a good deal.
basically
Right.
what you're getting him for if you shave off those last 4 years by having the Padres pay it. That's and it's like, yeah, I don't want to cut Xander down the road, but I also want him to get all his fucking money. So if putting him on waivers is the only way to do that,
Listen, man. Given how major league teams operate, and by that I mean they operate. Some of them operate like they're fucking broke. There are so many creative ideas that you could put forth to get Juan Soto on whatever team, like legitimately whatever team, if you're just willing to eat some cash
right?
and like eat some cash for like not useless players. This is not like the Yankees trying, like, if you for some reason, like, let's say Anthony Volpe was the it guy and he has a year left on his deal. You're trying to get him. You're like, well, you got to take Stanton. That's a little bit different because Stanton is a DH who can't hit right now and can't run and can't field. So like that's a little bit different. Yu Darvish is still a usable starting pitcher. Now he getting paid a lot for a long time. Cool, but he's still a useful starting pitcher. If you get them to shave something off of there, you can live with that. Xander is still a really good shortstop. If
Mm-hmm.
you get it, you're like, hey man, listen, we'll pay for 7 or 8 of those years. We'll take 3 or 4 off for you. That's fine. Like there are so many ways that you could trade with the Padres and get better simply because they're broke. So many ways.
No
There's
doubt.
so many ways. Even Jake Cronenworth is useful. I'm not like I prefer Xander simply because, well, the ceiling is way higher as a player. But like Cronenworth is useful and he's not that expensive. He's just
No, he's not.
Padres expensive at this point. They are broke, or they're very broke. They're
They're gonna
hurting.
have they're gonna have Salas up there next year playing every position. I don't care. You're 14.
He
You're
gonna
up.
be like Jimmy Butler at the end of that finals game, but by like week 2 of the season, they're gonna have him playing catcher, first, second, third, whatever. They're gonna have him in the stands, serving hot dogs. Like they're gonna have him doing whatever the fuck.
I can't imagine how much goodwill Craig Breslow would buy himself with the fan base if his first move was reacquiring Xander Bogaerts at less money with Juan Soto. Like that, they'd build him the statue. You talk about making someone a hero.
Listen, I think that is pretty much the only way they could get that done. I'm talking about the Soto part of the equation.
Right.
Simply because like I don't think them and the Padres make a lot of sense as trade partners if you believe the reports and what they need, and they claim that they need young prospect pitching. Like I don't think they match up personally. Like, and I'm not saying this because I'm a Yankee fan. I think the Yankees and the Cubs are like the two teams, especially the Cubs. The Cubs seem like they want somebody. Like they've been on that for 2 years. They want fucking somebody. And the Otani thing is probably less likely now that he's having Tommy John. I don't think they're going to go for that.
Right.
I mean, I'm just waiting for the Dodgers to have signed Otani notification. That feels like the most obvious thing of the offseason, so we'll see what happens with that. But I think the Cubs and the Yankees are probably the biggest threats for him. But if somebody starts talking about, well, we're going to take on this money or that money, then the whole equation changes.
Right, because the weird thing about the Padres, I know they traded Gore to get Soto, but they still have a loaded farm system. They still have a top like 7 farm system.
It's still
Uh,
good.
so it's like they're not hurting by any means. They still have other ways to acquire young pitching. The Mariners are still dying to give up one of their young pitchers. Still don't understand why, but they they can't wait to get rid of them.
I could somewhat understand it because their offense is kind of so like I get it, but I'd rather just sign reasonable bats on free agent. You could get them every year. Like,
every year.
bro, Jock Peterson has been a free agent for 12 years. He comes in, he hits his little 25 home runs, his contract expires. Like this happens every year, like clockwork.
Duval, Adam Duval signed in February
Brandon
last
Belt,
year.
granted, he has durability issues, but same thing applies. Brandon Belt rips up right-handed pitching. You could sign him for like $8 million and be happy with it.
Also, maybe the Mariners hitting wouldn't be so shit if they built a real stadium, not a fucking
What's the problem with they still call it
cavernous.
Safeco?
Isn't it still cavernous?
It
Because
is.
right,
It is.
that
It's a pitcher park.
yeah. So it's like if your
It's a pitcher
offense
park.
stinks, do what the
Yeah, I mean
Padres.
the fucking Baltimore moved their goddamn left field wall back into another city, so there's that. They moved that shit back into another city. Like they were like, I mean, we are tired of Gleyber Torres hitting 75 home runs against us every single fucking year. So we're gonna move back. We're gonna move back the fence like 200 feet. Good luck.
I remember the Mets used to do it every year of David Wright's career, being like maybe 5 more feet he'll hit more home runs. Just give him a couple more feet. It's
And it's
like
like I gotta give the Orioles credit because like, but obviously, but I mean, Gunnar came. I think they drafted Gunnar like after this became an idea. I want to say, but either way, when it became an idea, like Grayson was in their system, DL Hall. I mean, he looks like he's on the reliever path, but like their best prospects were pitchers at that point. They're like, we are so tired of watching 320-foot fly balls leave the park off of other teams because we suck. So like we're just going to move the park. We're going to move that shit back, and every game is going to be 3-2. So enjoy. Let's see how you enjoy that.
who are these? And I'm not saying this is a dick. I just don't know. Who are these young, ready to burst on the scene Yankee starting pitchers?
They have Chase Hampton and Drew Thorpe. Drew Thorpe was the minor league pitcher of the year, and Chase Hampton is also a rising prospect. They have some other dudes who are like 18, 19. So like it's not worth talking about them. They're so far away, but those are the main two.
Uh, one of those guys. I'm just basing this off of name scouting alone. You said Chase Hampton.
Yes,
No.
I agree. But yeah, yeah, I more or less. I heard Chase Hampton. I'm like, is that a third baseman? I feel like if that's a third baseman, like yeah, you can get by with a name like Chase Hampton. Okay, starting
That's
pitcher, I don't know, bro. I don't know.
someone on like 7 teams. Reliever, big reliever,
Like
middle
that
reliever.
sound like a lifetime 4.3 ERA pitcher, Chase
Right.
Hampton. That's what that sound like. But
I'm
yeah, him and Drew Thorpe are their guys.
Drew Thorpe. I could see being a guy. Now I'm very excited to have just like Chad Billingsley'd myself. Who was the writer that like it was like one of the first tweets. Like this was like back in 08. And it still
The
recirculates
first,
every once in a while.
yeah.
One of the old writers was like something along the lines of like, you can keep Clayton Kershaw. I'm riding with Chad Billingsley. And Billingsley was fine, like genuinely fine. They both came up around the same time, but it was a weird thing to
I
like
don't know,
plant
man.
your flag on.
And it's funny because it's like, is there something that's against the rules of them having both of them? Like, am I missing something here? I don't, because Kershaw was good at that time. It's not like I'm making this up, right?
Kershaw was like a top 5 pick. Like he was
Right. Exactly. So it's like there's nothing that's against the rules say that you have to pick one. Like you don't. You just have both of them.
I mean, I've definitely been as a younger man guilty of being like, let me try and be the smart guy here. I'll go off the beaten path. And like sometimes that's right. Sometimes it works.
Listen, Jobber Chamberlain changed my life for the worse. So I can't sit here and judge nobody else. I thought he had that second half or whatever, 08, where he was legitimately like a top 7 pitcher or so for like 2 months. I was like, yo, he's on his way. He's gonna win Cy Youngs. He's getting his jersey retired. He's gonna have his plaque in Monument Park. Da, 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 da. And then he lost velocity and everything was straight. And it was like, yeah, this sucks. Like this fucking stinks, bro.
I never saw it with him as a pitcher, but I did think he was just going to come and take Rivera's job. I was worried about that. Like he had I mean, he looked like, this is going to sound weird, but a more in shape Bobby Jenks. Uh, so I was just like, yeah, I think this guy's going to be a problem.
Bobby Jenks. Wow. I haven't heard that name in a long time. But yeah, no, he was as a reliever. Like when he first came up, like he was mowing down everybody. So
Right. Right. Yeah, it was horrifying. And then we brought up Bard, and I was like, all right, we've got the taller, skinnier version, basically doing the same thing. And then we both ruined them. So that's always fun. That's a
it was
good
so
time.
fun, so great, ruining pictures, so great, man.
um, I don't know what the word is on Red Sox controllable pitchers. They get plucked every year in the Rule 5 draft, so clearly people think there's talent there, and we've been doing the fucking of it up. And I don't disagree with with that. Like I
Yeah,
find it hard to believe we have this many pitchers in our system every year. They all fucking suck. Like that just doesn't make any sense to me. It does feel like it's an us issue, which is partially why Breslow was hired and partially why people like the Cubs minor league pitchers right now.
yeah, right,
So
right.
that's where it's like I don't it may be a year too late in terms of having Breslow here to make a trade like this unless he's like, yeah, I'll take $200 million, no problem. Like I'll take that contract
And like,
today.
there's no reason not to do that.
None.
Like, regardless of the team, like obviously, like I'm not talking about the super broke boys in like Pittsburgh and all that, but like if you're a good team, like with the actual real payroll, there's no reason not to. Especially if you plan to re-sign Soto. And quite frankly, as a matter of fact, if even if you don't plan to resign Soto, if you don't plan to resign Soto, like taking the money probably even makes more sense. But then you have
Right.
to give up nothing, and then you're giving up nothing for a rental plus other stuff. So
Right. Yeah. I mean, my thing with Soto is it's like we have Yoshida in left. I would prefer Soto in left. Like if Yoshida wasn't on the team, I'd prefer Soto in left. Right's right and Fen. He could
yeah,
play right.
the defense becomes an issue.
He could
Right
play
and
right at
Kevin is a
Yankee
problem.
Stadium just because it's shallow. I'm not saying that to be a dick. Like it's genuine. Like
No, bro, there's no. Listen, one of these days I'm gonna do a rant on this show about the whole left-handed batter myth in Yankee Stadium. But like, yo, there's nothing to do in right field. Either the
nothing.
ball's hit at you or it's hit over your head and it's out. Like, there's nothing to do in right field.
I see so many balls hit to right field at Yankee Stadium. We're like, that's gonna find a gap and like, or
No,
it's like right to Judge, and I'm like, why is he playing deep second base? Like, why is he so close? Like, are he gonna be
bro,
out at first? What's going on here?
bro, the type of left-handed hitters that benefit from Yankee Stadium are like the Kyle Schwarbers of the world. It's like,
Right.
all right, well, whatever you hit to right field is leaving. It doesn't matter how short it, like, whatever you hit to right field is fucking leaving. Like, the gap to gap left-handed hitters don't really, like, there's so little space to do anything in right field outside of hit the ball at the park that you're getting robbed of so many hits that would be hits in other places.
It's I love that we both play it. Like, you guys definitely have a more traditional looking stadium, but they both are just fucking hilarious stadiums to
Oh, absolute Ricky League stadium, both of them. Like the big ass wall, and then you have 314 down the right field line and 318 down the left field line, which the 318 never gets spoken about, which is really funny to me.
ever.
It never gets spoken about. People are so concerned about the 4 feet.
Could you get well if right field also had a 37.5 foot wall, I don't think people would talk about how short that is either.
Fair point.
You know what I mean?
Fair
It's
point.
like
Fair point.
you know how many home runs get robbed from left field, like things that would have gone 450 if they had any launch angle to them. But
Yes.
it's like,
Yeah. And then how many fucking doubles become singles? Yeah.
yeah, oh
So many.
yeah.
So many. I
So
hate
that's
those
also
things.
like, and I don't think Soto's incompetent in the field. Like it's obviously not his bag.
That's not his jam. No.
And it
That's not his jam, though.
and pretty much ever since 2013, I've been a firm believer that you need for a good Red Sox team, you need two center fielders, one in center, one in right, at
Right.
least defensive capability wise. So that's like, is Yoshida going to move to DH? Obviously, we have a hole there because of Turner opting out. And that's not official, but that's just what everyone assumes is going to happen.
Mm.
So, and you can't be making long. Justin Turner had a great year here. You cannot be making should we get Juan Soto or not decisions based on Justin Turner. No offense.
Whether Yes, correct. I saw somebody the other day was like, it was some rumor. I don't know if it was a rumor. It's probably one of them fake blue check people
Right.
writing nonsense. It was like, would you trade Anthony Rizzo for Juan Soto? I
I
was
did.
like, What the fuck are we talking? What the fuck are we talking about, bro?
No, wouldn't
And
do it.
somebody came in like, no, that would be insane. We wouldn't have a first baseman. Motherfucker, play Soto there. I don't care. What are we talking about?
Literally anything but judge
And
it first. Like it doesn't matter.
anyway, it doesn't fucking matter. Go sign Brandon Belt. Go sign Jock Peterson. There's 15 run of the mill average ass first baseman on free agency every single year. Go fucking sign one of them. But we don't have a first baseman. Yeah, you have to give the get number one. Number two, he has a year and $20 million left on his deal. Like you move him, and then you figure it out after that. It's
And
Juan fucking Soto.
and you guys broke its brain last year, so he probably won't even have a good year.
Did we break his brain or did he break his brain?
I
Or
don't know,
did
man.
Fernando Tatis break his brain? Like, that's the most accurate thing.
He was concussed for 2 months. You guys kept trotting him out there. I find it hard to believe anyone else is at
Listen,
fault.
I think everybody was culpable here because Anthony was like, I was waking up in a fog every day. It's like, then motherfucker, why are you playing? Why are you playing?
It's just that's a guy you want in the clubhouse. He's toughing it out.
Yeah, you tough it out through a sore ankle. Not, yo, my brain is broken. Like, I think, yeah, tough it out. You know, your hamstring is sore. All right, tough it out. Cool. Like, you can't see. I think that's a little bit problematic when you try to hit baseballs. I could be wrong. I'm just a guy with an opinion. I think it's pretty problematic if you can't fucking see when you're trying to hit baseballs. Like, oh, I woke up in a fog every day for 2 months. Like, yo, your job is to hit baseballs, bro.
And catch him. Like there's a lot going on
Right.
out
And
there. Like
there was one point I knew something was wrong with him, like early in the process, where it was, he made the first out of the inning and he ran off like he made the third. I've seen like 2 outs and you get confused. I have never seen somebody make the first out of the inning and he was running off the field. I was like, yo, whose man's, bro? Something's wrong with him. Something's wrong with him. And this was after Tatis answers. I'm like, yo, I don't think this guy's right. I don't think he's right. And he wasn't.
That is
Should
tough.
trade Anthony Rizzo. What the fuck is wrong with people?
I mean, he was a Padre. Could be a good reunion for them.
Send him back. Send him back. I'll help him pack his shit. Because I'm a nice guy like that. I'll help him pack his shit.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm all in on Soto. Play him at left, play Yoshida at DH. I really don't care. But it's just like the cobbling it together is so strange.
Yes, it is.
Because if they're going to go the Red Sox Mookie Betts route, they're certainly not getting any good young pitchers. That's not how that trade worked. They'll get honestly, Verdugo will probably be in this trade too if it's with the Red Sox.
Isn't Verdugo a free agent? Or am I making it up?
No, it's his last year. He's got 1 year left.
Oh yeah, he's not coming back.
No.
he's not coming back. Everything I've read about Alex Verdugo for the last like 3 months is like, yo, he getting traded. It doesn't matter who, to where, how it happened, he getting traded.
He was having like in full uniform still having like all out conversations with Heim like in the middle of the season, like after the game was over. And everyone was just like, that's peculiar. I've never seen that before. So it was like Cora benched him. It's weird because he comes into the season with such great energy, such positivity. He's tearing the cover off the ball. They asked him to get faster. He's faster. They asked him to get better defensively. He's better defensively. And then something happens and it all just falls apart in a fucking blink of an eye. Every year. It's insane. Like, very solid player. Definitely not a bad player. Red Sox stats always says, like, I can just picture him getting big hits in October. And I don't disagree. He seems like a guy who would rise to that occasion. Mentality-wise, all that. There's just something... it's tough for him to get through 162. Like the one, and you need to do that as well. You absolutely need that part.
Maybe it's because of all them evil Boston fans. Maybe that's what the problem is here.
No, I don't know that that's it.
Maybe that's the problem here. Like, he can't walk the streets comfortably. That's what the issue is.
Didn't he have to like jump in the stands and try and fight Yankee fans for something they said? Isn't that what happened?
Him being irrational is not our fault. Him being irrational is not our fault. We didn't do nothing to him.
Who was the Cleveland? What was it? Quan was
Miles
getting
Straw.
Yeah.
Apparently they were talking shit to Stephen Quan, and Miles Straw climbed the wall and all of that. And then Glaber got the game when they hit. They started throwing shit on the field. So nasty. It was nasty work. It was so nasty.
And then what was that? That poor A's fan just wanted to go to a playoff game, and you guys like uh, put him on a cross and lit it on fire in center
That's his
field.
fault. That's his fault.
Those
Like
fucking
you're an A's fan. Where do you get off?
guy just wanted to watch some baseball.
You're an A's fan, bro. Nah, where do you get off? He was probably talking crazy too.
I'm,
Knock,
he looked
stop.
like he'd never spoken in his life. Every time they cut to him, he looked like the nicest guy I've ever seen.
So, all right, his body language was off. That's why he got his ass beat up. Yeah, don't
He
fuck with us in the Bronx,
guy just
man.
wore a hat. That's all that happened. He just wore a hat.
It's the quiet ones. It's the quiet ones that talk the most shit. Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah, I don't know that guy ever spoke out loud. They're like, let's fucking kill him. How about that?
Yeah, yeah. We're nothing compared to Boston fans. So y'all are evil for real.
Yeah, no, that's for sure.
Y'all are evil.
I mean,
Very evil.
I won't forget the Dodgers pitching coach. I don't remember his name. It doesn't matter. But him in the
Isn't it
playoffs.
Mark Pryor?
It might be now. It wasn't in
Oh, yeah,
18.
copy. Mm-hmm.
Um, in 18, he was like, "Man, the crowd's so close to the bullpen. It really isn't fair." And it's like, if you don't shut the fuck up, dude. If you, it's like just admitting like we are getting mentally dominated out there. Can
Like
I?
you just can't make quotes like that public, bro. You really can't. It's just gonna make it worse.
So much worse.
Like they're gonna just be like, oh, so we're already in his head. Now we can just go even deeper into his head. And the thing is with fans, like the stories you hear, I have never heard good heckling at Yankee Stadium. Like it's all bad. I'm just speaking for me. But like, yo, the people they know a lot. Like they'll start talking about your dating history. They'll start talking about whatever. And it's like, yo, how did y'all find this? And why? And whatever job you have, why are you not a detective? I feel like you're wasting your skill. Like, why do you know who this man dated 20 years ago? Why do you know this information?
It's what anytime I've heckled, it's always been whatever's on the field. Like when I gave Jermaine Dye an earful, and he had a career day. He just absolutely every time I spoke, he got better at baseball. If I followed him around his whole career, we wouldn't even talk about Barry Bonds. It was,
Jermaine Dye would have had his Hall of Fame speech, and you would have been in attendance.
yeah, he
But,
was
yeah.
like, well, I don't know what this fucking guy's problem is or who's financing him, but I thank God because he really has me in the zone on a daily basis. I've never seen someone play so well. I was like, this is my fault. And the people who think fans don't affect games,
That's so false.
like in certain places, I'm sure they don't, but this Northeast, Philly up to Boston, that stretch and everywhere in between, like yeah, the fans will indeed affect.
Like I'm not gonna say that the Philly fans getting into Orlando Arcia's head is why they won the series, but bro, look at what he was doing during the game in Game 4, bro. During the game, of course, fans matter and they could get in your head. It depends on the player. Some guys respond to it
Oh,
like
for
Jermaine
sure.
Dye did. Like some guys just like, oh, word, that's what you want? Okay, fuck you, and then go crazy. That's how I go. That's Jose Altuve in Yankee Stadium. That's why his batting average is 1,000. Like he's just like, oh, you're saying what about me? Like, oh, fuck me, us, fuck me, no, fuck you, and then home run, home run, home run. That's how he gets down here, unfortunately.
I think that's why I enjoyed Pedro versus the Yankees so much because it's not like he had like a 1.2 career ERA there. Like he won plenty, he lost plenty. Like it felt pretty even.
That was people use the word rivalry however they want. That was a legitimate rivalry. Both sides got each other. Both sides hated each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like boy, it was some good old. I miss that kind of acrimony in my sports. I miss that kind of hate because it was blood hatred. I mean the shit that happened in the ALCS. Like you don't get there without a lot of hate on both sides.
Right.
You just don't.
That doesn't happen the same day. That's a lot of
Right. Right. That is 2 years of yo. I am so sick of these motherfuckers on both sides. That is what that was. Like you had an 80-year-old man charging a fucking 27 or whatever he was at that time year old pitcher.
an
You don't get that
animal.
shit without hate.
An absolute animal. Tried to tried to tackle my boy and was disposed of quickly.
Still very funny. Still very, very funny. I'm just glad I could find that I could find the humor in that in my old age. Very, very happy about that.
I found it immediately. Took
I'm
zero
sure
zero
you
point
fucking
zero
did.
seconds.
I'm sure you did. I was hot for like 3 years over that shit. I was
Just
hot.
like that. Instantly hysterical.
Like I saw Dodd hit the ground and I was hot. I wanted to fight Pedro myself, just like pretty much the rest of New York City at that point. We wanted to fight him.
Yeah, you would have also got disposed of.
Yes, yes, I would have. Yes,
Did you see Ellie De La Cruz's homecoming?
yes.
The Dominican, they just understand like how to treat their royalty. And I tweeted he threw a parade for himself, and then people were like, "This happens with every Dominican player." If you're telling a Red Sox fan about the Dominican, like you've already lost. Like we fucking know, dude. We fucking know. Like it's just funnier when he's sitting on the hood of like a Ford Excursion, dead in traffic.
It's way funnier to think that he threw it for himself. It's way funnier because it's like in the middle of the street on like a Tuesday. Like, yes, it's way funnier to just be like, yo, Eddie De La Cruz is throwing a party for himself on a Tuesday on a random street. Like, that's just objectively funnier.
It's like he was running the grocery store and then was like, let's slow down a little. I'm gonna sit on the hood, wave to the people, smile to
Bro,
the people.
bro, that being on like a random midweek day is so fucking funny to me. Like, it wasn't like if that shit was on a weekend. It was not. That shit was on a weekday. That's so funny to me.
No, LV got it the day before, 2 days before, but it's just like him being just such like a massive hulking figure, just sitting on the hood. Like that car hadn't moved in an hour. They were just holding up traffic, and everyone's like, "This is sick, dude. This is unbelievable."
Like, why are we throwing a parade in the middle of this fucking busy Wednesday? Why?
Like people talk about Jokic and how he just wanted to go home and celebrate. Like Pedro enjoyed the Boston '04 parade plenty. He went right back to the DR, had himself a parade. He enjoyed that so much more. Like, and I don't blame him. I'm not a negative, but it's like I get it. I very much understand that
Yeah,
you're one of your
the thing is
people.
with Jokic, like he won the championship and looked like he looked like it was just okay. This is the last day of work. I'm just so happy to go. You know what I mean? Like Pedro was a normal happy guy. Like, oh, they
Right.
won the championship. Like, all right, great. Jokic was like, oh, finally that's over. Like that's how he looked when they won. Like, finally that's over. All right, I could go back to my hometown and go fucking race horses or whatever the fuck he does over there. Like, yeah.
I think he fights horses. I think the racing thing's just a front. I think he wrestles horses. That's his off season workout.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Also, he said it, not me. That does not reflect the beliefs of one Coley Mick does not reflect my beliefs or my thoughts. Thank you.
Nobody cares about horses. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. They don't give a shit. Nobody gives
Why
a
are we slandering horses, man?
I'm
What did they do
not.
to you?
First of all, they're cops. That's a fact. That's a
Okay,
literal fact.
okay, good argument. Okay, solid argument. Can't argue
But
with that. Solid.
two, like even the people who claim to love horses, like the horse racing people, every year it's like Belmont, Kentucky Derby, all these places. It's like, yeah, 30 horses died this week. It's just like no one cares. No one's gonna do anything about this. Like they were on the race. There's no moment of silence. The other horses don't seem to care that much.
The
Like
other horses don't care.
no one gives a fuck about these guys and at all.
The other horses don't care goes crazy.
Using an animal as a means of transportation is a tough scene. Like we couldn't have dominated horses anymore if we tried.
I can't believe we are here talking shit about horses. That's insane.
I mean, listen, Roger Clemens got up on that horse, I think, for both teams.
Now we're talking about Roger Clemens. All right.
He's the first athlete. Well, Mo Vaughn also got up on a horse. I don't think that they didn't give a fuck about that horse.
I have no rebuttal, and you got it. Like, you got no rebuttal, bro. You got it.
I've never thought about it until this conversation, like how little people actually give a fuck about whether horses live or die. Like people just don't generally care.
The
They don't
Mo
care.
Vaughn being on a horse one, that one got me, bro. That one got
Unbelievable.
me.
Unbelievable.
Listen, that I can't argue that, man. Mo was a big person. Was a big person. Like, there's no way you cared about that horse if you let Mo Vaughn ride it, bro. No way.
These poor someone's gonna do something about these poor horses, and I'm hoping this conversation gets the ball rolling. Clearly, they have no
I'm just
advocate.
glad that the tune changed from man, fuck these horses to how can we save these horses. I'm glad
My
the
tune was
tune
never
changed.
fuck these horses. It was consistently roll back the tape. No one gives a fuck about these horses. I think I played out a pretty good case.
Listen, the Mo Vaughn line, like that should be line one in the manual. Like, find the picture, and just put it like, hey man, or find two pictures, just Mo Vaughn, just the baseball player, and then Mo Vaughn on the horse, and be like, do you think they really cared about that horse? Like, for real? It's a foolproof argument. Who could argue against that?
He actually, credit to Mo, he looks pretty svelte in this picture. Like a Mo, he's still probably like a smooth 280 here, but he doesn't. He
Hey, I
does.
remember Mets Mo Vaughn more than anything else. I watched him every day, or damn near every day, and it was like he putting them pizza slices down, buddy. He putting them pizza slices down. I remember like slimmer Mo Vaughn in Boston. He got to here, and it was like,
Oh man,
yeah.
he got that Angels contract, and he was like, "Yep."
Well, I'm eating good from now on, baby. I got that. I got the funds to do it. Great, even better.
Is he? And we can end on this because I don't know even how long it'll take. Is he the most forgotten MVP of our lifetimes? American League. I won't pretend like I can rail off every
Most
National League
forgotten MVP.
because there are some Cy Youngs every once in a while. Like Porcello, people won't remember that. People already don't remember that.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, that was a ridiculous Cy
yeah, it was wrong on top of that, but it was
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was absurd. It was
there
absurd.
are some Cy Youngs that people just forget. Like they'll slip through the cracks, no problem. MVP is a guy like everyone should remember forever, and I don't know that anyone remember like I mean he was unbelievable. He was so good in the
He was
90s.
very good.
The rest of the MVPs in the 90s are all like Hall of Famers. I think that's where it's
Like, I think Josh Donaldson, we're gonna look at like 15 years
okay.
from
That's
now.
an interesting one.
I think we're gonna look at 10, 15 years from now. Like, A, how did he win one? And B, why did he win one? And then C, like, we just don't remember that he won one. Like, it's gonna be that. Like, it's gonna be that trend. Like, but outside of that, like, on the same level of Mo Vaughn, because the thing is with Josh Johnson, like, as good as his career was, he was not Mo Vaughn. No disrespect, he
Sure.
wasn't. Mo Vaughn was incredible, and like as good as that being forgotten, like I don't think we have another example in the AL in my lifetime anyway.
Yeah, that's what I mean, you go back
Yeah, in
plenty
my
far.
lifetime, I
There's
don't
a
think we have.
million of them.
Also, like I'm looking at Baseball Reference list of MVPs right now. One of these days, I'm gonna just spend like 40 minutes ranting about for MVP awards on the show because there's so many bad ones given up. Dennis Eckersley won a fucking MVP. Number
Know
one,
that's a good one. You started off with a bad example, so that was
sir. Dennis fucking Eckersley won one. Juan Gonzalez won two, which
too few. Too few.
uh, absurd. Because it's like, all right, number one, there's no argument Juan Gonzalez was ever the best player in the American League, right? Okay. There's
I
no
don't know about that.
there's no argument. What's the argument? Like, oh, he
He
drove in a lot of runs. So did a lot of other people. What's your point?
no, it was just like the amount of runs he was driving in wasn't even matched until this season. That was 25
Bro,
years ago.
but here's the thing. It would be like Juan Gonzalez drove in 147 runs. Okay, cool. I'm not knocking him for it. But like it would be like Griffey drove in 142. Oh, so what? It's
That's
five
different.
RBI. It's five
That's a
RBI.
different argument as opposed to like he wasn't deserving.
No, it's not. It's the same fucking argument. Number one, I said he was never the best player in the AL because he wasn't.
Juan Gonzalez, you and I remember Juan Gonzalez quite differently, it would appear.
We do. We do. Because he was
Juan
dope.
Don was
I'm not here to say he wasn't dope. He was a dope hitter.
unbelievable.
He was not Ken Griffey Jr. at any point. He was not A-Rod at any point. Ever.
He was in
Those
the
guys were
league, what,
better.
like 5 years before A Rod?
You said what now?
They didn't come in at the same time.
Oh, they were there at the same time, if I'm not
They
mistaken.
they played their careers
Like A Rod was
overlapped.
playing MVP baseball when Juan Gonzalez won one of them. Like if I recall correctly.
When did Juan Gonzalez make his debut?
Like, Juan
89.
Gonzalez won MVPs
89.
in '98. Okay, never mind.
Literally in the league 5 years, exactly what I said, 5 years before A-Rod was.
'96 and '98. Okay, whatever.
It's like
Whatever.
him and Mike Trout both played in the AL West. Like, what are we talking about?
Listen, the point remains. Fine. Like he was never Griffey. Fine. Like slash A Rod off the record. Okay, he was never better than Griffey. Not once. Never. Never in his life. And I'm not even a Griffey super fan like a lot of people are. Like I love
Yeah,
Griffey,
because he
but
told your organization to go fuck themselves due to the racism.
that's my favorite part about Griffey. That's the funny part. Like that's my favorite part about Griffey. When he was when the clip of him in Yankee Stadium,
Yeah,
and
it
he's
was great.
like, they were the last team in Major League Baseball to offer me a contract. I still wouldn't sign. And then the fan was like, really? And then he was like, if you don't believe me, you don't know me. I was like, yeah, that's cold, dog.
Right.
That's a bar.
I do like this new Griffey. I don't want to say renaissance because he's always been that guy, but like him having these Geico commercials during the World Series, like there should have never been an era where there was no Griffey. You know what I mean? Like I
I'm
feel
glad
like
he's so visible
that's
these
what I mean.
days.
He
I'm so glad he's so visible these days.
he needs to be in more commercials, more everything. He needs like Nike needs to be constantly retroing his shoes. They do
Please.
it. They do it so hot and cold, and then they always do weird fucking colorways no one's asking for. Like it's
True. Very true.
very insane decision making at Nike when it comes to Griffey's. He just needs to be more aligned with baseball. Like it's weird to say like baseball's coolness dipped, and it was a lot of it was baseball's fault, but they never even went. And I understand he's a human being who like he's no one's puppet. He can do whatever the fuck he wants, but
Right, for
I
sure.
don't feel like it was his fault. Like he's never been like anti doing shit. He did an episode of The Simpsons. Like he has no problem doing shit. Griffey needs to be more like he's still one of the faces of baseball. Like still,
Too. Yeah.
they put Jordan's logo. I'm watching a game right now. The Celtics have Jordan's logo on their
Listen,
jersey. Like they,
listen, man. The thing with Ken Griffey is like he's one of the few all-time great athletes that nobody dislikes. I've never heard somebody say they don't like Ken Griffey Jr. Like you might feel indifferent, and even that I've never heard.
no,
But I've never heard somebody just not have any kind of thoughts on Ken Griffey Jr. one way or the other. Everybody likes Ken Griffey Jr. because not only was he cool, was great at his job, and he's harmless. Like Ken Griffey Jr. has never hurt anybody. He's never offended anybody. Well, that's a lie. He used to wear his hat backwards. We know the kind of people he's
oh
offended.
man, lock him
Yeah,
up.
we know the kind of people he's offended. But yeah, like most people like Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah, there's not much to hate. You talk about Prodigy,
Yeah,
who
yeah,
had all the pressure in the world on him.
yes.
Like,
And being the son of a great and
that's what I
playing with his
mean.
pops.
Yeah, yeah. That's. I'm glad there's more Griffey exposure. That should have never stopped. I hope it continues. Um, Randy Johnson too. All the cool players from that era use them. There's no reason not to.
Randy Johnson was a fucking menace, bro. He
He's
was a menace.
unbelievable.
He was a menace, dude. Like
He he should be in more like goat conversations. His name always gets brought up, but never as quickly as I feel like it should. Like his resume is preposterous. He was just racking up sigh after sigh after sigh, like with no hesitation. And like people were like, "Well, he wasn't accurate." I was like, "I think that was a strength of his because what kind of lunatic would want to stand in the box against a guy throwing?"
bro, do you really need command when you throw like that? Like you really don't, or you need less command. Is probably the better way to put that. Like you need like it was like best case like super duper best case scenario Spencer Strider. Like it's the same kind of thing where it's like, all right, like okay, like yeah, I don't necessarily know where the ball's going, but bro, that's a detriment to you.
Right.
Like it's a detriment to you because that shit could be going behind your fucking helmet for all we know.
when
And we've
what?
seen it. We've seen that before at All Star games in
Oh yeah.
particular. We saw him do that shit. Like it could be going anywhere. I don't know where this is going, but neither do you. So good luck.
When I was a kid, I'm talking like 10, 11, 12. My father used to tell me when I'm warming up, like in between innings to start off a game, always throw your last pitch as hard as you can, just against the backstop, so that the first batter has to step in there worried. It's like, dude, I throw like 60. Like, what are you talking about? Like, no, my coach is gonna pull me if he sees that. Like, I don't like. I get I love the idea, and I think if like a major league pitcher did that once, like in a high leverage playoff game, if he did that, I think someone would be nervous. But you gotta have the arm to back it up. You can't be a guy throwing like a modest
Like, bro, you
59.
can't be R.A. Dickey doing that shit. Nobody cares. Like, no one cares. No one cares. If you're Spencer Strider doing that, different animal, different ball game. You R.A. Dickey doing that shit? Like, we threw a knuckleball to the backstop? What? How is
Yeah.
that my concern?
I was like, I get what you're saying. I don't necessarily disagree. I'm just not really like 86 Roger Clemens on the mound. Like that's not who
I
I
don't think
am.
anybody is going to be concerned about my slow ass pitch that they could see like the whole way to the backstop. I don't think anybody's concerned about that. I could be wrong, but I doubt it. I don't think anybody's too concerned.
I wasn't like terrible by any means, but it was just like I don't know if this is the strategy, pops. Like I don't. Maybe if someone can teach me how to actually throw with my legs, then I can get the real juice behind it. But until then, my elbow is going to hurt for the rest of my life based on all the torque I put on this thing.
Well, you're gonna fucking throw this throw that shit as hard as possible to the backstop, and then be like, and then hurt your elbow, and not even get to make your start.
Right.
It's
And
tough.
at that point, nothing was more important like in my life than making starts. Like that was all I looked forward to.
And botching pop ups.
Listen, that was the second baseman's ball. Everybody saw it.
Just pointing up and just walking off the mound is very funny.
I feel like I did my job.
You did. You got the pop up. Like, sure. But all of you guys failed in catching it. So there's that.
Whoever wants
the dude who tweeted the Prince GIF. So funny. So
it.
fucking funny, dude. So funny.
But either way, by the time we're back, a World Series champ will have been crowned, regardless.
So congrats to somebody.
Yeah, if it's today when this what is the score? Because I again still have the Celtics on.
It's zip zip.
Tense.
Yeah, very tense. Yeah.
Either congrats to the Rangers on your first, or congrats to the Diamondbacks for being like in the mix for most World Series this millennium. If they pull back off this comeback, we will see everybody next week.